Well, hello, NCI community. My name is Sonia Alcazar Collier, and I am the Director of Communications and PR for New Community Investments. And this is our video log. We love to do these with you all, or share them with you all, rather. And this is our second one. And you can just expect a lot more of these because we want to engage with you. We want to provide ways for you to engage with us. So we're going to jump right into this. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's some amazing changes that have happened for our company, and they're on the website. You might have seen them. And if you haven't seen them yet, you will have an opportunity to do that. And I have our CEO here today to talk about all of the wonderful changes that you are experiencing. We went through some brand identity changes, y'all. Yes, we just, we decided that whatever happened in 2023 is what happened, but 2024, we are making some changes. And so I'm going to bring our CEO, our fearless leader, Kim Stosser, to the stage so she can talk more about our changes.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome, Sonia.
Absolutely. Thank you for spending a little bit of your time with me today to do this for our community. I know it's important for me, obviously, as I drive our presence in not only the media, but obviously our presence in our digital footprint. And so I know you're super busy, but you're taking time to do these with us. And so I'm super, super appreciative of your time. So today we're going to be talking about all of this brand identity change that we've had. We've had a website change. We've had a domain change, all of these wonderful things. And it's really a part of a larger vision that you are bringing to us, Kim. And so if you can you start us off by casting a little bit of vision and what this whole brand identity change had to do with the larger vision?
We are, a subsidiary of a really established nonprofit, New Economics for Women. And so there was, sort of this feel of like, what is this? This lending arm. I mean, the whole nonprofit is about economic mobility. So what's different about this capital access piece? And so I knew that as we had goals of, raising more funds to provide more capital access to women entrepreneurs and minority entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs for underserved communities, that we really needed to be able to distinguish who we were, why we were here, what was different about us, and just kind of make sure that everybody on our team could own their identity, our identity as an entity in a really distinct way, but also, what can I say? There's something about having really clean and strong brand clarity that helps with those fundraising efforts, that helps even with the operational management and strategy and the way that we're scaling our operations internally during this fiscal year. It's like, well, how you build your customer interface and how you build your back office operations is also a reflection of who you are, right? Everything comes back to who you are and how you show up in the world. So this was a big piece for us and a big piece of our vision. And I'm really excited and proud of the team and proud of what we've been able to do together on this end.
That's wonderful. So for those people who might be watching now or listening, they may not know all of the different changes that occurred. Some of them are, on a smaller scale, and some of them are large and grandiose, like a domain change. Can you talk a little bit about some of the things that we changed?
Yeah. Definitely. We, what we didn't change, I can start that'll be easier. What we didn't change was the mission overall, right? The goal of bringing economic mobility through access to lending capital and grants to entrepreneurs from underserved communities. That didn't change. But what did change was the color palette, right? We took one from our parent company from the center of their logo and then built around it something that was more focused on finance and capital access. The color palette changed in that way, right? The logo changed. The manifesto changed. The tagline changed. The representation of ourselves and our brand, as well as the community that we're here to serve, changed, not just to represent people from underserved communities, but really to represent the spirit of the entrepreneur in that community. And we incorporated a tagline called "Invest in the Unstoppable." It's one of the big changes. There are people we're saying in the communities that have sometimes marginalized or overlooked, that really are like an unstoppable force of innovation, of willpower, of grit. And our commitment to our funders is to identify who they are, help them get ready if they're not ready financially, and really see those businesses thrive and see how they change the world and how they change their communities through the capital access we bring. So yeah, we changed the color, we changed the website domain name, we changed, the tagline, we refined our language and our messaging, and you've been a big part of that, Sonia, as well as the rest of the team. So really excited about what we expect to come from that.
I think the biggest thing that was really, really helpful was hearing you and we have an in-house, design. We have in-house design capacity, and so to hear you and some of the designers talk about why you chose different things really helped me to be able to tell the story that I need to tell, right, from a communication standpoint. To direct the communications for a company, it's really important to hear from the people who are developing the concepts and the styles and the colors. And so we took a lot of time to actually get into the psychology of why we use different things, why this was selected. One of the things I would love to hear you share with our audience is, why did we choose a bird to be that real, iconic thing? And if I can, when you look at different companies, we get to a point where you no longer need to even see the words or the name of that company. You simply just use their logo or their icon. And that for me is super important. And so we had to come up with something that was like, what could stand alone? And maybe other people from an opinion standpoint may say like, well, I don't know if that can do it, but I do believe that is something that can eventually, over time, we can truly make a name for ourselves. But why did we pick the bird?
The bird, yeah. The bird. I really love that image too. I think it speaks on a symbolic level, and it's also a nod to our affiliate companies. So, but on the deeper level, I feel like the bird that we have for NCI's logo it's like there's something about it that's a little bit elegant. The colors, I think, kind of symbolize both confidence and trust, but also growth, right? I like that the bird is kind of moving upward, and it's sort of symbolizing like this is an upward motion, right, for whoever's engaged with this company. It's got some curves, which reminds me of femininity, but it's not like overpoweringly feminine or overtly feminine. But for a company like ours that is, women led and really targeting, empowering that group of people, it kind of it gives like a little something of the feminine curve without being like a pink flower, right? Which, more power to companies whose logo is a pink flower. That's fine. It just wasn't necessarily what it was for us. So I think we really liked the idea that it could be elegant, it could be sophisticated, it could have something that at least we can see some femininity in, but also strength, confidence, forward movement, upward movement. And then I think what was really special to us is New Economics for Women, again, has multiple subsidiaries and affiliates, but one of the subsidiaries, which was established in 1999, is called New Capital, and it's a property management and maintenance company, and their logo is a bird. Their colors are different. They're red and white, but it's a bird. So it also felt like, yeah, we're staying in the family of these companies by choosing a color in the center of our palette that's from the parent company, but also choosing something kind of similar to our sister company that's also a subsidiary by keeping in the family with the birds. And so, yeah, there's a lot of symbolism built into that for us, but we also thought it was really clean, it was good looking, and like you said, it's the kind of thing that could become an icon. Like you could just see the bird in the future and know, okay, that's NCI. Right. So we're really excited about it.
Come on, marketing and brand placement. we know what we are.
Come on now.
Something that was really interesting that I've heard you say for the first time is, or explained for the first time, is sort of, how you were strategic in making sure that we had these elements of our sister companies, our parent company. Quite frankly, that seems very difficult to do, to constantly keep that in your mind and in your. So can you explain a little bit about, which is also a segue? We've obviously had a domain change. We have a new website. So what went into selecting our name? And if you notice, those of you looking at it, you can see it says .com. So it's not .org, it's not .us. And that was a choice, right? So tell us a little bit about why the domain change and how you went about selecting a new website. We could have been called anything, right? New Community Investment. You could have spelled it out, but there's strategy. You decided for the acronym instead. So what really went behind choosing our digital landscape like that?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I mean, our previous website and the one that we're converting from was actually new-nci.com. So there was it was kind of odd because it didn't inherently mean anything, right? It's like new-nci. It was cool. But what we wanted was a domain that spoke directly to what we do. Right? People need simple. Like there's enough complicated in the world. When I see a website domain, I want to know exactly what the heck it is, if possible. And so we wanted to keep it pretty small. We played with other things like NCI loans, which is very similar to NCI lending, new loans, new capital access, all of these things. But the first word of new community investments is actually a nod to that parent company, New Economics for Women. And so in a very real sense, the heart of it is New Economics for Women community investments, right? But what we needed to do, what we wanted to do for the community was have a company that was completely focused on funneling that capital access into qualifying applicants. And what that meant from a federal regulation level was that we needed to have separate books. We needed to have clear compliance to regulations. It couldn't just be a department of this other company that does so many things. It needed to be distinct and be on its own. And so even a web domain that kind of made it feel like a department of the other company, we thought might have been challenging for people to understand our intention. So looking at what other websites were doing, with other CDFIs, community development financial institutions, were doing, because we are an emerging CDFI, we went, okay, let's make it simple. Like if somebody sees our name on a website or on a business card, it is very clear that this company does lending, right? So ncilending.com. And of course, we wanted to keep it short enough that it could be memorized, right? Because typing in new community investments, it's kind of long. And honestly, you could just easily misspell one of the words having to type so many letters.
Before we move into some really important, like sort of data analytical questions where we'll end, I actually want to ask you about challenges. So for anyone who's listening or watching, again, you might be going through, should we do this switch? What does this mean for us? From your standpoint, though, can you share a little bit of the lessons that you learned? Maybe some things that you learned that came out of challenges, significant challenges that you experienced along the way. What were some of those lessons that you learned?
Yeah, I would definitely say there are plenty of lessons learned with anything that we're doing. Um, I mentioned the length of the website. Can I be really practical first? If you are looking at, changing a lot about your brand, it's really advisable to keep that web address under 15 characters if you can. I would say another thing is if you're going to update the brand, sometimes we're so focused on getting into that social media or getting into the website, but you really got to focus on the brand identity first. So I definitely found that we had to slow down our website update project planning to make sure that we got the brand identity as clear as we wanted it to be. Give yourself some space for that and just listen to stakeholders, listen to the community you're serving, listen to if you, like us, have affiliates, parent companies, subsidiaries, people that are really tied in with you, kind of hear their voices in it, listen to the people that actually work on your team. And to the customers, especially if you've got repeat customers, how do they see you? And how do you want them to see you, right? What could you do that could help foster that relationship? um, I think those things would probably be in line with lessons learned. And I don't know, to me that's kind of going into what advice, right, I would give to someone who was thinking about doing this. I think, to me, those questions go together. So I'm just going to take liberty here and just keep talking. But um, I would say when it came to rebranding, being clear about why you're doing it is number one. We knew that we needed to create some distinction, that our team had a hard time explaining the difference between new community investments and new economics for women as a whole. But we also knew we wanted our community, our tribe of people that we're here to serve, to be able to identify us, right? I wanted them to be able to see our website, see materials or things that we're putting out and know, oh, that's for me. I think that's for me. And as a group of professionals who, most of us have had our own business at some time, most of us are from underserved communities or under resourced communities as individuals, we very much represent the people that we are here to serve as new community investments. And so we wanted to make sure that there was something in the way we spoke, something in the way that we positioned things, that our tribe knew, who we were. Oh, that's me. I'm a gritty, work hard, high achieving business owner. And yeah, maybe I didn't get an MBA, but I know my grind. I know my industry. I'm serious about what I'm doing. I know how to make a plan and stick to it. And I wanted those people to see us and know they've got something for me. So we just, and then we wanted to be really transparent about our identity and who we are for those that we work with. So we knew our why. And I think that had a big part to play in us deciding to do the rebranding and deciding to update the website was, hey, now that we're seeing clearly who we are, how can we put that out and how can we make sure the people who are looking for us can find us? And I think that's like the number one thing. If you're ready, if you're thinking about doing something like this, think about what's the difference? How does it impact the bottom line? If the idea is we just want to get more clients, you probably need a stronger why than that, right? Is it a different client? Have you grown as an organization and now there's more that you want to show? Are you repositioning yourself and you've kind of looked at your services and what you're developing and you need to stand in a different place? Like, be really clear on your why and the impact you're trying to make. And then again, talk to your target audience, talk to your community, make sure you know how they're interpreting what you're presenting so that you can pivot in a way that's really meaningful to them.
That's a great segue to one of our final questions, and that is talking about metrics and how we're going to measure if this is doing what we want it to do. And I think obviously within our company, different departments have a different standard of what they're looking for, not a different standard, but a component of a larger standard for what they're looking for, right? I'm going to be getting in there as someone who's, constantly governing the website and its functionality. I'm going to be getting there and seeing, like, are people actually able to navigate this page? Whereas you might think from the CEO standpoint, I don't care if it's easy to manage or whatever that might be. Like, I just want to make sure we're getting more hits on our website. There's so many, and social media is going to have a different goal, right? They want to know, like, is this driving them to our social media where we're doing other types of content? And so from your standpoint, as our leader, now that the rebrand is complete, how are you going to measure the success of not only the brand, but all the things that come under that, such as, the website and like this bird? Like, how are you going to actually identify if all of these things are doing what you wanted it to do?
I want to develop a community. I think I'm going to be looking for that. It's going to take probably a full year to really look back and see if all of the KPIs that we're monitoring are leading to that bigger outcome. But I think we'll be successful if we have shown that we bring value as a voice. Sonia, you're releasing a newsletter soon, right? We have, obviously, social media is a place to sort of rally community, and videos like this one, I would love to see our audience grow. Our audience grow in terms of readership, viewership, not just to see numbers mount up, but when people who have the same view of economic justice, who have the same view of the value of diversity and innovation, who want to see small business thrive in the United States, who want to see small business thrive in communities of color, and women-owned businesses thrive. I think as we all come together and we begin to look at the current events, like what we're doing in our newsletter, right? We look at them through the lens of how does this impact small business, and particularly small business from underrepresented communities. And we start to kind of look at what's happening politically in the finance sector and technology and business, and we're digesting it together and we're tracking together. I think we're going to be able to give more and more useful content. We want to do more than actually just the loans. We want to be sort of a hub and a community where entrepreneurs from these spaces can gather and get valuable information. We want to be able to put on events that bring value for them, whether virtually or in person. And we want to be, thought leaders in a space that doesn't have as many voices from these diverse communities as maybe it could have, right? So the finance industry, great. I love it. We're in it. But how many women of color are able to really kind of speak and share that perspective? I think we just all need a seat at the table. And I'm not the kind of CEO that thinks the system is bad. I get capitalism. I want more people who are ready and willing to do the work to succeed to also get capitalism and have opportunities to thrive and excel. And so, that's what we want to do. We want to be a source of information, of education, of community. And I think when we look back a year from now, if we see that we've got an audience base through these videos, through our newsletter, through social media, of people who are able to take what we're putting out and use it to grow their businesses and use it to grow themselves personally as business owners, that would be fantastic. And if we could also have an audience of people within the finance industry who are interested in hearing the perspective of how these regulations and updates and policies are impacting communities of color in their entrepreneurship, are impacting women-owned businesses and their business leadership, we'd love to be a trusted voice in that too. And to just, again, make sure that the United States is thriving economically, that our commerce and our position in the global market is as impactful and as high as it could be. We want to be a part of creating the future.
My goodness, why do we have to end now? That was so good. So good.
That's okay, because we're going to do more, right?
We're going to do more. We have more to do. This is so good. As Kim did mention, we do have our new 2024 coming out of the gate with all of these new products, and we have our newsletter, and we would love it if you're listening or you're watching. There is a link in the description that will take you to a subscribe link, and you just enter in your email and you'll receive our newsletters, and you'll get different alerts that let you know that we're doing more content, more video logs. If we're in the field at an event, you'll find all of that kind of stuff out. So make sure that you look in the description for our subscribe button and subscribe to our newsletter for more of what we're doing. Kim, thank you so much. This is always so much fun. I love it.
Yay. I know. I love doing this with you. I look forward to doing lots more of this, like we were talking about. And I just think, it's a brand new day. There's so much to do. And I hope that we can be a source of hope for people who are watching this right now and who are trying to figure out what moves they're going to make in 2024. Because, the sky's the limit.
Amen.